Hey YouTube, what's going on? Game Time with Kyle coming at ya today. We got another edition of our Fantastic Four Atari 2600 games, and this is our third edition. So I'll definitely provide a link to the first two videos in the description. But on with this show. Today we're going to be playing just a couple minutes of each game here, just to show them off kind of what they look like. The first one is Kangaroo for the Atari 2600. Great game. By the way, these four games have something in common, and we'll get to them in just a second. We have Berzerk, kind of a fun little shooter. They will getting a little bit worn, but still, in gameplay is just great. Moon Patrol, definitely a fun little game as well. And now, no edition can be complete without probably my absolute favorite Atari 2600 game. This is Pitfall 2. The Lost Caverns, and just a fantastic game overall. One of my probably favorite games of all time is right there, and definitely among the best Atari games ever released. So we are pleased as punch to be able to play some gameplay footage from that today. So before we get started on the games, the thing these games have in common is that they are all based off of classic arcade games, actually. And as far as we know, Kangaroo, as well as the great Pitfall 2, were both cartoons on the old Saturday Supercade back in the early 80s when they did some cartoons based on arcade games, kind of like a Donkey Kong, and they had a Pitfall, Kangaroo, Pac-Man was one of them. A couple others, if I remember right. We'll talk about that on a future episode of Game Time. But for now, let's play these games. We'll be playing them in order. First off, Kangaroo, Berzerk, Moon Patrol, and we'll finish up with Pitfall 2. So here we go, and thanks for watching Game Time with Kyle. And off we go with Kangaroo for the Atari. Also, a couple of improvements we're going to be making on this video over our previous two is we're going to deliver some fun facts as we play the game. For example, Kangaroo came out in the arcades, actually, in 1982, and of course, as you've seen there, was ported to the Atari 2600 in 1983. And not only that, but it also made an appearance on both the not only 2600 but the 5200, and as well as the original arcade version, and was a member of the Saturday Supercade cartoon series. Alright, we played this Mama Kangaroo down here. You had the ability to jump, duck, which is actually pretty cool. You can kind of run and jump, and with these monkeys flinging apples at us, we had the ability to punch. Do so frequently for a lot of points. Now this is one of those very difficult games. It's not definitely not easy. If anything, it's actually very close resemblance to Donkey Kong. As you can see, some of the similarities here between Donkey Kong and, I would say, maybe even a little bit Popeye related as well. We've seen Popeye on a previous Fantastic Four Atari games. And the fun music as well. Oh, he flung the apple at us right away. Of course, the object of the game is to get your baby kangaroo on top of the screen. Get your little Joey there. Alright, we're playing pretty well now. And as I say that, Kangaroo, just a very difficult game. We'll try to give it one more go. We got to get at least to the second stage. In this Atari 2600 game, there's actually 3 stages in this game, and once you pass the third stage, and I swear I have done it before, once you do beat the third stage, you come back here to the beginning and kind of start the game over, only it gets a lot more difficult. And I can imagine it being more difficult than it actually is, but it is. Definitely got to be careful climbing those ladders, especially when that little ball drops down there, because you just can't climb off very quickly. Alright. I saw it coming. I couldn't dodge it. This game is being very harsh because unlike some previous gameplays of previous Atari games where we're just doing it really quickly, I actually am trying very, very much to get to the top of the screen. Here we go. Stage 2. Kind of a weird stage for me because sometimes I just can't do it. Even if you give me 50 attempts, I just cannot make it to the top. And then there's other times, oh, that was quick reflexes there. Then there's other times where I can make it just on the first attempt, kind of like we might be able to do here. Wow, here we go. Pat on the back for Kyle. That was one of those rare attempts where I have no troubles at all on that stage. That can be tricky. This third and last stage here in the Atari port definitely plays more like Donkey Kong than the previous stages. Ah, monkey's up there. I don't know if I can... Okay, never mind. But that is Kangaroo, just a fun, addicting game for the Atari. Highly recommend it if you can find it. It's pretty wild. The next game we're going to be playing on our Fantastic Four Atari games is a game called Berzerk. And it was also one of the songs featured on the album Pac-Man Fever, sort of released in the 80s from a duo doing a few songs related to classic arcade games. Definitely, actually my favorite song on that compilation. And yeah, let's see what we got. Berzerk was also ported to not just the 2600 here, but the Atari 5200, as well as the Vectrex gaming system. We'll talk more about the Vectrex on, again, another future episode. And was released in the arcades in 1980, as you can see down here, 1982 for the Atari. So, kind of a fun game where you roam around, left, right, and shoot mini robots. You can shoot diagonally, which actually is kind of advanced for the old Atari here. Not many games let you shoot diagonally. One of the games it kind of resembles is, if anyone remembers the old Smash TV, or probably more so Robotron. It's kind of a less challenging Robotron. I also like the map itself is a random generator map. So it definitely makes for, never know what robots or what the map will look like. Extra life there. It's just kind of where the game kind of farts you out, and sometimes it's in the middle of a lot of angry robots, and sometimes it's just kind of off to the side like that. Oh, see, there was one of the occasions there. It kind of spawned us in a really weird spot. Now the interesting thing here is too, is you see 2 robots on the screen. We don't necessarily need to finish them off. We can just kind of walk right off the screen. But if you are able to shoot all the robots, or they commit suicide there, you do get a point bonus. There you go, so 40 points added to the score for robots dead. 10 points per bot. So this is one of the game modes as well. The normal game mode has actually, it's obviously a little bit more challenging. and has kind of a creepy smiley face that kind of comes and bounces. Oh, there, right in the head. But a creepy smiley face that kind of bounces around the exits and chases after you. They are just impossible to kill. In fact, I don't even think they can be killed. And there's the random generator that spawned just literally right next to a robot. Just took 2 steps. So that will do it for Berzerk, and let's move on to the next game. Okay, this next game is definitely a long-time favorite of mine, even way back in the days when I was a wee little lad in grade school. Obviously in the early 90s, not in the early 80s. This was one of my favorites. I loved going over to the grandparents' house and playing this game. This was an early favorite of mine. Moon Patrol is the name of this game, and we saw it not only on the Apple II, but of course the Atari 2600 and 5200, and it made it to the Atari computers as well, the Atari 800 and the Atari ST computer. The Commodore saw a version of that, as well as the Commodore VIC, or VIC 20. And it was actually planned for a ColecoVision version on the mighty ColecoVision, which at the time was sort of a rival for Atari. There was one planned, and I think it even began, but was never released to the general public, which is sad. So here's kind of a one where we kind of play as a space police or whatever. We're shooting down some of these rogue ships that will be showing up in just a moment. And in the meantime, there they are. In the meantime, we're kind of also keeping an eye on the road, because there'll be little piles of dirt to hit, or rocks. I assume they are rocks. As well as little gaps to jump over. We can go faster, we can jump, or we can kind of slow down and go in the back. So it's kind of neat. You can shoot up as well as forward in this game. So unique there. Darn. The game is being very unfriendly to start off. We'll see if we can get a stage or 2 past before the end of this brief gameplay video. Watch out for these guys, because they'll actually, their shots when they land create more craters like that one there. Those little three ball looking ships. You do get bonuses for not being killed off. That was just, ooh, okay, we did it that time. No bonus that time, but obviously we lost 3 lives, so we're not going to get a bonus. Stages get pretty tricky too. I really should have slowed down. I saw that coming. I should have slowed down and did a very quick little jump over that first one. But that is okay. That is Moon Patrol for the Atari 2600. Great game. Great game. And last but certainly not least, a true masterpiece, and for sure my favorite game on the Atari 2600, Pitfall 2. I love this game so much, it's kind of worn out. No, literally, when I put it in, it really has a lot of trouble starting up. Let's see, also released for the Apple II. There's sort of kind of the gameplay, what it looks like. Apple II saw a version, as well as the Atari 5200, the ColecoVision, the Commodore 64, as well as the arcade version. Actually came a little bit later, and that was helped produced by Sega, of all companies, did an arcade version. And this also appeared on the Saturday morning Supercade in the early 80s. All those classic arcade games that were made into cartoons. Of course, that was way before my time. I never got to see that, but I would love to see some of those old episodes. So let's give it a go. This is an amazing game, very much like the original Pitfall, only 100 times better. Alright, off we go with Pitfall, Harry. And the objective of this game, actually, we're not going to obviously play it all the way through. It would take several minutes. We might do a future complete playthrough as for this game, for sure. But what we need to do, we need to get to that little mountain lion that's down there. His name is actually, let's see, what was his name again? I think it was, I forget. But we need to rescue him. We need to rescue Pitfall Harry's niece, Rhonda. And we need to collect a diamond ring. Once we get those 3 items, the game ends. That was quick. Now obviously, most people would try to go up here, because that's where the mountain lion was at. There's a white rat that, try as we may, you just cannot get over. So, we have to go all the way around. Now I'll shut up here just for a moment so you can listen to that great music. It's 4-part harmony in the music. Gold bar for extra points. But this was the first time we ever heard something like this on the Atari 2600. A true marvel. So I'll turn it up here just a bit and enjoy the classic music. This really helps make the game. How good is that? Watch out for these electric eels. Those little scorpions returning from the first pitfall. You climb down the ladder, get some gold. And this is interesting too. Not a lot of Atari games, just to kind of demonstrate how massive this game really is. There's actually checkpoints. So when we get hit, we don't necessarily lose a life, but we'll just return to this save point and continue our quest. Alright, I'll quit singing. And you gotta definitely watch out for those frogs. But yeah, this is just in a nutshell Pitfall 2. We're kind of going through some of these caverns and jumping over things and dodging bats and climbing down ladders and getting hit by a frog for a second time. It's interesting because once you do get hit, the music changes. Similar theme, just in a minor setting there. Now, a handy little trick, when you see the bats, there's genuinely... oh, crap. There's usually some gold on the other side when you can see these bats. And if we can time it just right, we can kind of stand under them too. Like, ah, man, I just can't do it today. We can stand under the bats too, because there's no duck feature like in Kangaroo. And we definitely can't jump over them. We can jump over these frogs when they are stationary like that, but it's darn tricky. There we go. Redemption. And there's the gold we mentioned. My button has trouble working. But this is a fun way to get down to the bottom of the screen. So anyway, oh, actually before I quit, I wanna get a balloon ride. So we're gonna dodge. We're just gonna forget all that gold we saw on the way down. That was weird. Note to self, do not use this joystick for any more future Pitfall 2 adventures. What the heck? We just keep going through that thing. That's crazy. There we go. 800 times later, we are finally over. Oh, fuck it. Alright, anyway, that will do it for this episode of Game Time. Definitely leave a comment on what your favorite of these Fantastic Four Atari games was your favorite, as well as what you consider to be some absolutely great Atari 2600 games. And definitely leave a comment as well as on if you ever saw the Saturday Supercade, the series of cartoons based on these arcade games. What your thoughts was on that. I would love to see a few of them in the near future. So, as always, thanks for subscribing, thanks for giving it a thumbs up, thanks for joining our Facebook group page as well, Game Time with Kyle. And we're starting to get a little bit of a conversation, a little bit of a community on there. It's just a lot of fun, and we don't allow any hate on there. So it's all for fun and fun times and everything. So thanks everybody for tuning in on this episode of the Fantastic Four Atari games. And thanks for tuning in to Game Time with Kyle. We'll see you next time with some more. Check out the Atari playlist for more all Atari goodness. Thanks everybody, and take care.